The surveillance footage from the Hollywood Hills is as haunting as it is clinical, capturing a world where fame provides the ultimate camouflage for depravity. Inside the hushed, modern sanctum of a rising star's residence, the unimaginable unfolded with a calculated, terrifying clarity. David Burke, known to millions by the stage name D4vd, didn't just write songs about romantic homicides. According to investigators, he lived one. For the public, the immediate, agonizing question was singular. Why? Why would a 21-year-old artist on the verge of a global tour, with a career most would die for, execute a child in the very heart of his own home? But to those who understand the dark underbelly of digital grooming, the discovery of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez inside the front trunk of a Tesla was not a mystery. It was the violent, inevitable climax to a years-long reign of manipulation, financial exploitation, and absolute narcissism. The front storage compartment of that car, the frunk, where Celeste's remains were left to decompose, had been treated as a burial ground by the suspect long before the LAPD ever opened the latch. To understand the horrific reality of the David Burke case, one must understand the environment. The music industry is an insular world that often prizes profit over protection, creating a bubble where celebrities believe they are untouchable. In the eyes of a predator, a vulnerable teenager is the perfect target, disposable, because their voice is easily drowned out by the roar of a fan base that refuses to believe their idol is a monster. The dam of silence first began to crack when detectives revisited a missing persons report from the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. Celeste's parents had tried to save her. They had seen the warning signs in early 2024 and confiscated her cell phone to sever the connection to the adult singer. But this manufactured barrier was no match for Burke's resources. Sensing his control slipping, Burke allegedly drove to her hometown of Lake Elsinore and paid a junior high school student, a child in Celeste's own class, $1,000 in cash just to deliver a secret, secondary phone. It was a terrifying demonstration of unchecked influence, proving that no parental boundary was safe from his reach. By early 2024, the psychological manipulation had escalated into a global operation. Burke allegedly used his status to move the underage girl across state lines and international borders, from Las Vegas to Texas, to meet his family, and even to London. How an adult managed to travel internationally with an underage girl without raising alarms remains one of the most chilling societal blind spots of this investigation. But Celeste was allegedly not the only one on his radar. Investigative reporter Lauren Conlin uncovered a deeply disturbing pattern of behavior. Burke was reportedly loitering outside of high schools, including a middle to high school campus in Pennsylvania. He would linger just off the property line, targeting girls as young as 14 by offering them free concert tickets, creating scavenger hunts, and having them scan QR codes to exchange information. He was turning school zones into his own personal hunting grounds, using his rising fame as the ultimate bait. The mask finally slipped on the night of April 22nd, 2025, after a volatile argument over his infidelities and his relationships with other women. Celeste threatened to disclose the truth of their history. It was a truth that would have instantly annihilated his budding career. She was upset, jealous, and ready to expose the man who had led her to believe they had a future together. Text messages retrieved by investigators referenced highly inappropriate material and intense personal ultimatums. Celeste held the keys to his destruction, and Burke knew it, knowing he had to silence her before she ruined the life he had built. Burke allegedly lured her to his home via an Uber. The ride record shows her getting dropped off at 10:10 p.m. Within 20 minutes of her arrival, detectives believe she was already deceased. Prosecutors allege that Burke fatally attacked the teenager with a weapon, and then stood by, watching her as she succumbed. It was a cold, observational execution rather than a crime of passion. Then, in a display of next-level depravity, Burke allegedly began a methodical cleanup. He didn't panic in the traditional sense. Instead, he began shopping for the tools needed to erase the evidence. Using the fake name Victor Mendes, he ordered a shovel from Home Depot via Postmates on April 24th. On May 1st, Amazon delivered power tools to his home. By May 5th, He had received heavy-duty containment bags, a burn cage, and a blue inflatable kiddie pool. Burke allegedly took horrifying measures to cover his tracks. He placed Celeste's body into the blue inflatable pool in his garage to prevent any evidence from staining the floor, prioritizing his property value over the humanity of the life he had just taken. Inside that pool, he used the tools to completely conceal what he had done. The calculated cruelty reached its peak when he realized he had left a permanent mark on her. Literally, Celeste had a tattoo of his name on her hand. To sever his brand from the crime, investigators say Burke went to extreme lengths to remove those identifying marks from her hand. To this day, those pieces of evidence have never been recovered. He then placed her remains into the heavy-duty bags, laying them inside the front trunk of his Tesla. For weeks, possibly months, David Burke lived a double life that defies comprehension. He left the victim's body hidden inside his car while he continued to promote his music. He reportedly lived with the reality of what was in his garage, lying to his friends about the odor coming from his vehicle. In a ghoulish attempt to create a digital alibi, he even texted and called Celeste's phone after her death, asking, "Where are you?" so investigators would later think he was looking for her. When the LAPD finally executed a search warrant in September 2025, they found the smoking gun inside the Hollywood Hills garage. They discovered the inflatable pool with linear cut marks and Celeste's DNA left behind. They recovered iCloud data, Amazon receipts, and the horrifying text exchanges that documented their relationship. Today, David Burke sits in custody, facing a trial for murder with special circumstances, including lying in wait. His defense team, utilizing statements from attorney Blair Burke, is attempting to build a narrative that he is not responsible for her death. Legal experts speculate the defense might lean on inconclusive toxicology reports, suggesting Celeste suffered an accidental overdose from illicit substances, and that Burke merely freaked out and attempted to hide the tragedy in a panic. But as the prosecution and the public quickly point out, you don't freak out and then spend 2 weeks methodically ordering power tools and body bags under a fake name. You don't panic and then strategically alter remains to hide a tattoo. The linear cut marks in the pool and the premeditated nature of the purchases suggest a cold-blooded assassin who thought he could delete a person like a bad recording. The case of David Burke is a devastating wake-up call for the digital age. It exposes the vulnerabilities of children in the face of celebrity influence and the catastrophic failures of the adults in his circle who looked the other way. Fame does not equal safety, wealth does not equal morality, and talent does not excuse depravity. For Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the music has finally stopped. She was a child led into the dark by a predator cloaked in stardom. As the trial approaches, society has a responsibility to listen to the silence of that Hollywood Hills garage, to dismantle the sanctum of celebrity, and to ensure that the monster hiding behind the viral hits finally faces the light of justice.